Hello, this is Lady Boulay, and I hope you're having a beautiful day. Thank you for your support. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for your comments, and thank you for your thumbs up. Thank you for all you do to support the channel. And yes, we are commanded to love one another, whether we want to or not, or whether we agree with each other or not.
Just hear her out. That's all I'm asking.
Y'all are worried about the wrong thing with these Republicans trying to bully their way into getting all of these seats. Everybody's saying, oh, they're worried they're going to lose the midterms. They're worried they're going to lose the midterms. No, they're not worried that they're going to lose the midterms. If they were just worried about losing the midterms, why in the world are they trying to just take away singular seats in some of these states, like South Carolina, right? Why are they worried about this one seat? This is a very red state. I highly doubt any of those other red seats are going to switch. You want to know why they're so worried? Because it's their true goal. You know what their true goal is? Their true goal is a 2/3 majority. And do you know what happens when you have a 2/3 majority in Congress? You can change the Constitution. That's their true goal. It's not about losing the midterms. They're not worried about that at all. They are worried that their plan to get a 2/3 majority in Congress, that's why they're pushing so hard for this. That's why they seem to be penny pitching every single seat that they can possibly get, because they need a 2/3 majority to change the Constitution. That's what we should really be worried about.
No, we should be worried about it. If they're that determined to change the Constitution, somehow they will be able to do it. But let's go over what it's really going to take to change the Constitution. She sounds like somebody that got part of the civic class or part of the government class, but she didn't get the rest of it. So I'm going to give you the rest of it. What would it really take to change the Constitution? So let's get into it. Now we know that white Americans have a low birth rate right now. We know that they are still the majority demographic in the United States, and they want to stay that way. They want to hold on to power. So they are finding every way that they can to hold on to power, but eventually they will lose unless something changes besides them manipulating the law, which is what they're doing now, cheating to win. It takes a lot to change a constitutional amendment. The Supreme Court can't do it, and a president can't do it. But this is what it takes. To repeal or replace an amendment, the country must go through Article 5 of the Constitution. There are only two legal paths, and both require overwhelming national agreement. Number one, the Congress proposes a new amendment. This is the only method ever used in the United States, and it requires 2/3 of the House of Representatives and 2/3 of the Senate, and it has to be ratified, which means it has to be approved by 3/4 of the states. That's 38 states. 3/4 of the states is 37 and a half states. There is no such thing as a half state, so it takes 38 states. Now that was just number one. 2/3 of the House of Representatives, 2/3 of the Senate, and 3/4 of the states have to agree that that amendment needs to be changed. Then we go to number two. The states have to call a constitutional convention. This has never happened in American history. It requires 2/3 of state legislatures, 34 states, to demand a convention. Then 3/4 of the states, 38 states, to ratify anything that comes out of it. This path is considered risky because it could open the door to rewriting large sections of the Constitution. So this is it. The founding fathers of this country, who were a bunch of old white men, were intentional in making it difficult to overturn an amendment to the Constitution once it had been ratified. And that is why it is very, very difficult to amend, to change, to replace an amendment of the Constitution of the United States. So even if a political party talks about overturning the 14th Amendment, the math makes it nearly impossible. They would need 290 votes in the House, 67 votes in the Senate, 38 states to ratify. There is no political coalition in the United States anywhere close to that, especially on something as fundamental as birthright citizenship. Talking about overturning the 14th Amendment is political messaging, not a realistic legal pathway. Now, they are trying to take these seats away in the South because they know that Black people don't agree with a lot of things that they do, the Republicans. And so, yes, they are trying to take these seats away. But if they could have changed any amendment, they would have done so. Now, what Donald Trump is trying to do is something different than changing the amendment. He is not trying to do away with the 14th Amendment. That's how people are getting confused. They think he's trying to undo the 14th Amendment. He is not. The 14th Amendment was passed for a specific purpose, and people are using birthright citizenship for everything but what it was for. So many of us want birthright citizenship to be clarified as it relates to non-citizens of the United States. So this is where the confusion is coming in. And some of these people in these state legislatures don't know what the Constitution says. So they think that they can just get the Supreme Court or they can just get so many people in Congress and they can do what they want to do. But that's not the way the Constitution works. For some of these people, if they could bring back slavery, they would. If they could do away with the Civil Rights Bill, which they'll start chipping away at that because it's not a constitutional amendment. But the 15th Amendment gives Black people the right to vote. So you can vote, but they can make it difficult for you, which is what they're doing, but you can still vote. So they're not messing with the Constitution because then they're really going down a slippery slope. And once they start messing with it, they don't know where it would end up. They might end up without a place to stay. But they cannot just change an amendment because they want to. If it was that easy, they would have done it already. And so people keep bringing the 14th Amendment up because the 14th Amendment covers birthright citizenship, equal protection, and due process under the law. That is what the founding fathers, those old white men, were trying to provide for the former enslaved because they had built this empire free of charge. So we have to give them credit for that. But now the 14th Amendment becomes a lightning rod in immigration debates, but the Supreme Court cannot overturn it. And Congress cannot change it without 38 states agreeing. So you need 2/3 of the House of Representatives, 2/3 of the House of Senate, and 38 states have to agree that we need to change this amendment. So when someone says Republicans want to overturn the 14th Amendment, the correct response is they can talk about it, but legally, they would need 38 states, and that's not happening because we can't think of 38 states that would agree with these Southern Republicans. Can we? Look at your map and see if you can find 38 states that would agree with Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, and Tennessee. And increasingly, Georgia is not going to be in that mix, and neither is North Carolina. So this young lady sounded like she knew what she was talking about, but she only got half the story. And I gave you the other half. Let me know what you think about the video and have a good evening.